everyone. My name is Nelson Merchan. I am a CEO of Lino Media. And this panel is the metaverse, creating an NFT economy through play-to-earn blockchain games. So we have today with us Leah Callon-Butler. She's the director of Emfarsis. We have Lisa Chandler. She's a core team member of Alien Worlds. We have Sebastien Borget, co-founder and CEO of the Sandbox. And then we have JD Salbego, who's CEO and founder of AnRKeyX. If everyone, starting with Leah, can do a brief introduction about you and about the company that you're a part of.
Yeah, absolutely. Just make sure I'm not on mute. Nice to meet you, Nelson. Thank you. My name's Leah Callon-Butler. I'm the director of Emfarsis. We're a consulting agency that specializes in blockchain and crypto. We have special expertise in communications. You might recognize my Australian accent. I was the writer and narrator of the Play to Earn mini documentary, which was all about Axie Infinity and NFT gaming taking off in the Philippines. I also write a regular op-ed column for CoinDesk, which covers similar subjects, all about blockchain adoption, impacting lives across Southeast Asia.
Awesome, that's very exciting. Lisa?
Hi, I'm Lisa Chandler. Sorry if there's a bit of a delay. I'm up in the mountains, so forgive me and bear with me. But I'm with Alien Worlds, and we're building a social metaverse. And we have just, I believe, 3.1 million player accounts and about 250,000 to 300,000 people each day engaging with NFTs and Trillium and the metaverse in general. We're very excited about that and having a lot of fun with our communities, building out what's in people's imaginations and supporting their efforts. Glad to be here.
Awesome, thank you. Sebastien?
Hey everyone, my name is Sebastien Borget. I'm the COO and co-founder at Sandbox. I'm also the president of the Blockchain Game Alliance, which now counts over 230 plus members in the industry, promoting adoption of play-to-earn, blockchain gaming, NFTs, and more. At Sandbox, we are creating a gaming virtual world, decentralized, open metaverse, where players and creators can make 3D assets and game experiences and monetize them through the use of blockchain technology and NFTs. And we are paving the way to a whole digital economy where, they can earn a revenue stream and turn on new jobs through their skills, their talent as architect, creator, game designers, artists, fashion designers, gamers, real estate agents, and many other possibilities.
Awesome, very, very exciting. And lastly, but definitely not least, JD.
Yeah, I'm JD Salbego, founder, CEO of AnRKeyX, and we launched Q4 2020, and we are a social gaming network based on DeFi, and that that's hosted on what we call a decentralized finance gaming platform exchange. We call it GDEX, and we're a game producer, so we produce and publish our own social DeFi games, as well as we have DeFi, DApp, and gaming NFT developer and creator tools for what we believe the Web3 creator gaming economy and metaverse. That's what we're currently involved with now. So that's what brings me here. Excited to get going.
Awesome, thank you. So we're going to start a little general, a little broad with really talking about the subject of the panel, which is creating an NFT economy through play-to-earn blockchain gaming. Blockchain games. What does it mean to create an NFT economy? What is an NFT economy? We've seen the NFT market recently really take off. So what is the NFT economy, and how do you see it being really shaping up in the first few years? If anyone is interested in getting at that question.
I'll dive in because I've been doing a new light paper all day, so I'm kind of in the nerd out phase. No offense to nerds, because I'm quite one myself, as a disclaimer. So I mean, first and foremost, what I believe, and I think we can all agree on, is the tokenization of these assets, right? With the Web3, it's now you can transfer and own value, right, and digital, and with the utilization of NFTs, we're all gamers here, so we're not doing art per se, we're all doing high utility usage of gaming assets, land, swords, up, achievements, yada yada. And what I think we're all doing here is creating actually an economy, a digital economy of productions of goods and services that have their own economic values of supply and demand, and that's because of only Web3 technology, blockchain, we're allowed to actually transfer and own that value now through gamification. And we are high focused on the DeFi aspect. That's always been our thing. And high yield, utility-based NFTs and gamified liquidity mining. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a whole, social media was the first metaverse, truly, right? So social networks, digital marketing assets, memes, GIFs. That's literally the first version of the metaverse. But now we have blockchain, and guess what? The assets, the space, the IP addresses, and the circumferences around them, right? And these assets now can be traded and owned is unreal. And now these, even down to the low level social memes now that are actually, from a psychological standpoint, they expression of emotion can now be tokenized and engaged. So that's why we get into all the social token aspects and all these other worlds. It's going to open up it's really exciting. That's all I gotta say. It's really exciting. I think what we're all doing right now. It's wild as hell.
Yeah, I guess I could add to that as well. I think the interesting thing about NFT economies is that I think the economy itself isn't necessarily new. These game economies have always existed, but what's changing is who gets to own a part of that and who gets to profit from that. So you could look at things like there's been a recent court case in China with Tencent suing DD373.com for allowing players or facilitating the trade of in-game items external to the platform. That's strictly prohibited by the T&Cs of that platform. And that's pretty standard across centralized games. But what we're seeing in these NFT economies is that suddenly players get to actually own a piece of the economy where they bring time and skill and value and build community and do all those great things that actually give the community value. So I think for me, that's what's really shifting and changing, and was kind of the promise of blockchain all along, to put the power and value back into the hands of the people. And really, I think we're seeing it play out in a very powerful way in terms of these player-owned economies.
That's awesome. And we've seen with the rise, really, I think the play to earn narrative has really taken off. And we saw the success of it with Axie Infinity, and just how the real impressive numbers that they're pulling in terms of revenue, in terms of sales. So in terms of Axie Infinity, and you guys have kind of all in some one way or another really been observant of what they've been doing. How are you guys, whether you have a service company that's offering services to the metaverse, or actually building the infrastructure for the metaverse to really flourish, for these marketplaces to flourish, how do you see Axie Infinity really being that leader in the beginning, and also kind of leading the way for other play to earn assets? And so what do you think they did well, and how do you see your guys is developing as that whole metaverse space really takes off?
I'll jump in. If not, I guess I'm in an opinionated mood tonight. We're actually in a funding round, an equity round right now. So Axie comes up a lot. So, I'm talking about them every day for some reason, right? Obviously, that was a dark, sarcastic joke. What's funny, we were one of the first literally first DeFi game in the market. It was us and Avagache last year. We really built out this whole market. Axie, to be honest, I mean, they're phenomenal. They weren't that special last quarter. Let's be real. Nothing was happening, truly. It was Alien Worlds. Let's be real. Alien Worlds has been crushing it, and Sandbox, for a long time. But somehow something sparked literally fourth quarter last year when we were launching. And, they were in they were in our first pitch deck of in our value charts of competitive value. We were comparing them to CryptoKitties, literally, and everyone else in the market was. But something sparked, and they've been doing this for a while. Look, they've been around 4 years, literally. They've been around 4 years. Something happened. They've been doing the play to earn thing. if you guys remember that CoinDesk report, maybe it was you, Leah, who wrote it. It was about a year and a half ago, and they did this like, whatever is real or not, great PR stunt from Hollywood, phenomenal. And they had like, oh, we found multiple IP addresses playing from one game or something, and we called them up. That's what it actually said. And it was some Filipino kid and his family all playing money, right? But it was right in the beginning of COVID. That didn't take off either. But something happened back then. I don't know really what it was. Everything in the universe combined, right? It's like some spark triggered it. And what they do is great. They have a great economic model. They have a great, there's a lot of incentivization there, right? They got the whole sponsorship thing. I think that's great to a certain degree. I don't think a lot of territories will buy into that mechanism, specifically places like America, right? Where it's not an impoverished country or things like that. But that's just my own opinion. But they have a lot of great economic models and ways for people to earn. And then I think with the help of their system and then Yield Guild, they created this whole, right, this economy of people like actually earning, and it sparked. I think it was great. But I think I just wanted to point out that there was really not much difference that happened last quarter of 2020 than what happened now, truly, right? Something just happened in a shift in the global conscious of everyone in the world, right? If you're into that whole thing, right? The collective conscious. So that's all I got. I guess we got a quiet panel tonight. I'm the only one amped up.
Maybe I can jump in. Like, we've been part of the first wave of pioneer games that started right after CryptoKitties. We were with Axie Infinity, with the Sandbox as a virtual world, F1 Delta Time, and a few other. And it's true that there has been a certain number of environment around that we're not playing yet in the favor of like a broader adoption, like the readiness of the game, the overall crypto context. But forwarding movement forward a little bit year after, like there's been a much more crypto-friendly environment. There's been a much more, I would say, with the bullish market, DeFi has been opening more, and then people were looking to convert value from DeFi into other games and NFT-based game. There's been the momentum that came when Beeple sold the $69 million NFTs that raised a lot of awareness from the broader market into what is an NFT suddenly and why someone would be willing to put so much value into it. And one of those factors, but beside that, there's definitely a great game at the beginning. Like, it all starts with great game, fun game that people want to play, and certain condition that makes and drive people to feel the benefit of blockchain, feel the benefit of NFTs, and from word of mouth, from ecosystem development and network effect behind, then the first who built and were the most ready to launch to capture this network effect, that's what triggered the machine to go forward. And by that moment, Axie had a lot of those ingredients ready, a good condition with market. COVID triggered something as well. It started in Philippines, but I think now they just represent 30% of their total user base. So it's very global in nature. And what we are witnessing, and I've been 10 years into gaming, we've never seen that even in mobile free-to-play, like this exponential growth month to month. Right now, there are 1.3 million daily active users. They've generated more than $400 million of revenue in a single month from transaction fees, showing also that the true ownership of your NFTs, your digital asset, and transferring it is actually a viable business model, both for developer, while it gives value into player-based economies for users on the NFT and asset they own, and the currencies and NFTs they earn through their active engagement and active play. All of that, it's very exciting, and it's going to, they are clearly industry defining now, whether we wish it or not. So there will be an after Axie, and now everyone will be comparing or trying to copy them or launch the next Axie. Like, every pitch deck you're going to see now, everyone will claim I'm the next Axie Infinity, which is great for a game. And I think the other projects, because what's missing, it's still a lot of diversity in the space in case of like, what can I play if I'm not a fan of that kind of game, or what platform can I go if I'm more into the creator economy, or I want to experience more virtual world based, Minecraft based kind of game. And that's where other games like Alien Worlds, Sandbox as a platform or AnRKeyX, etc., have an opportunity to offer. And maybe one last comment. I think I really admire the strengths that Guild Gaming has been able to capture. Like it really came organically. Like YGG was funded by Gabi because initially he was lending its own Axie to other players who wanted to use them for farming SLP resource, and there was something like here he immediately saw the potential of like, all right, let's do it at scale. Let's organize guilds of guilds now and train people, educate people to the benefit of that value and what they can earn from it. And it worked. And now I cannot see in the landscape games that don't use YGG or Avocado Guild or other guilds of players, or doesn't use OpenSea as a marketplace. They became the main two source of users that will then make, or maybe doesn't make, some future games in the market, in my opinion.
Yes, that's very very exciting. And with Lisa, you're building alien worlds. There's a lot that you guys have with this game. You have the NFT dynamic, you have DeFi integration, as well as really having the overall gaming experience. How do you, when building such a big vision of integrating crypto as well as having a great gaming experience, how do you stay in tune with what the market in the cryptocurrency space is doing? And do you forge your own path, or do you stay very closely listening to what is going on in the market? Because we've seen in the crypto space, trends come really quickly. They get very, very important. They get a lot of press, they get a lot of fanfare, but then they almost always kind of drop out. And so it seems like for companies such as yours, as well as Sandbox, how do you, and AnRKeyX as well, how do you stay ahead of the trend while also trying to figure out what is the best way of really providing these incentive mechanisms through the NFT economy?
Mm-hmm. It's an interesting question. We really focus more on what our players want. We're building somewhat of the resources and tools for people to go off and create. And many of the games that we're building are, proof of something or another, right? Proof of mining, proof of stake, and other things, perhaps. And so that gives the players, the communities, and, the individuals who have chosen to create brands or groups of people that get together for various reasons, or events or software, to have those resources that plug into the blockchain to be able to write transactions, to be able to send things to people based on those transactions and so forth. So really, if we partner with someone, we get to know them really well. Other than that, we don't get to know all of the games necessarily. However, typically someone in our social connections in the metaverse knows any particular game at any time, and we know who knows what and can go to them. So we take advantage of the network effect if we want to learn about something. But everyone has different collections they like and follow. But really we're very player driven. We have a technology roadmap, and we have a lot of fun as a team creating things for the players as well. But then we, aim to inspire them and then let them go off and be great displays of decentralization and action.
Awesome. And Leah, with Emfarsis, you see, you guys are a service provider for the metaverse, for this new thriving industry. What are some challenges that these crypto gaming industries, whether they're existing gaming companies or crypto companies that are looking to get into this mix of crypto and gaming, what do you see as challenges with them in terms of really undertaking this journey? And you and your team at Emfarsis, kind of what solutions do you provide to those challenges? What do you see that kind of really separates companies that are serious about really entering the space and others that are just not really seeing what it's going to take?
Yeah, I think for me, it really comes back to education. This is such a new and nascent space. I mean, a lot of people talk about crypto as a nascent space. So if crypto is nascent, I don't know what that makes play to earn. Um, but it's, I think a lot of people are still trying to catch up in terms of what this really means and how it's going to affect people. They've seen that there's been incredible growth, but really in the scheme of things, like Axie Infinity, for example, has broken 1 million daily active users, but in comparison to some of the world's biggest games, that's really still a drop in the ocean. So there's plenty of room for growth. And I think the people who are looking at this space now are still very early. I guess I'd take it from an external perspective first, like whether it's media relations or investors or new users who are looking at these games. There is a massive hurdle to overcome in terms of education. Like when we created the Play to Earn documentary, for example, we made a really strategic decision that it would not be bogged down by technical jargon. When we first filmed it, we actually made a critical decision not to include the word NFT. Now, if that's a word or an acronym, but I'm going to call it a word. But this was December 2020. And, we said, no one in the world knows what an NFT is. So let's not refer to it. Let's just explain how the technology is impacting lives and talk about the human stories as opposed to talking about the technology. Now, fast forward to March, and the entire world had gone into meltdown about NFTs. So I guess that shows how quickly this space is moving, but we literally had to go back and re-record voiceover so that we could make sure that we said the buzzword that was going to pop up in SEO. But, really it comes back to that thing. It's like, who are we trying to tell this story to? Who do we want to get on board? Who do we want to come with us on this journey? And how do we make sure that we tell stories in a way that isn't intimidating and that anyone can understand? Look, honestly, I think that's a problem that all of crypto has struggled with for a really long time. But in the space of play to earn, I guess the stakes are even higher, because what I'm seeing personally, and I'm pretty sure that most people on this panel would back me up, is that the people who are attracted to play to earn are not necessarily coming from within the crypto bubble. Whether they're gamers or creators or just people who are interested in this idea of being able to play a fun game and make a bit of money from it, they're not crypto people. And I think that actually represents a really powerful shift in terms of adoption of this technology, because so many of us have been like, up on our soapbox, banging on our drum, telling everyone how great this technology is, but we're not seeing the mass scale adoption. So for me, it's play to earn that represents an opportunity to be able to tell stories in a different way, appeal to a different audience, and they're actually willing to go and jump through all the hoops to learn how to use this and become regular users of crypto, not just people who buy Bitcoin once and sit it in a wallet and hodl it. No, they're earning it. This is their income, be it full-time or just a side hustle, and they learn how to actually cash out and turn it into food on the table. So I think being able to share those stories in a way that anyone in the world can understand is a challenge that shouldn't be underestimated. It's really difficult to do, but I think all the people in this space are doing a really great job, and that's reflected in the adoption that we're seeing now.
Just to add to what Leah said, I think only through the good games we're able to open up the overall space, and by telling the actual human stories beyond the technology is really the great way to approach this. And Sandbox, now we have more than 50% of our user base who never had a wallet before. So that demonstrates exactly this idea over our 350,000 registered account, that if you have a good product, a good platform, if there's an opportunity for it, you can bring new people in, and those new people in have that capacity to bring even more and grow the whole landscape, as we're just so in the past few months. Focusing on the value for the people, I think that's the key. And we need people to relate those stories as well behind, success story of some creator, of some players, life-changing moment, how it made an impact, small one or bigger one, for people, and all the goods and benefits that come from those new digital economies, play to earn, creator economy as well.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. Sorry, I'm jumping in again, but I think what play to earn does for blockchain and crypto is take away the need for people to ask how the technology works. You know, like when you tell someone that you work in blockchain or crypto and they're like, yeah, but I just don't get blockchain. Like, how does it work? Which is a kind of a funny question to ask, because no one these days asks, but how does the internet work? I need to know. Or how does my car start? Or like, you know, how does my mobile phone work? I need to know, otherwise I can't use it. And it's like, you don't need to know the technicalities of blockchain either. But because it didn't necessarily have this narrative or a really tangible and exciting use case for people to jump and grab onto, we were always kind of coming back to but what's blockchain? Now I think it's more about, wow, you know, look at what this technology is doing for real people.
I think a big key really is the education part is so big, and that's why we're seeing the NFT space as well as the gaming side in the crypto sector really take off, because it is the best way to onboard users. It's through the game, and in crypto, as we learn, we really learn through doing it. And when it comes to speculation, which has been crypto for basically since its infancy, that's difficult for a lot of people to do that. But now that you could actually earn money through these games, that's bringing in a lot of people. And so with something like JD with AnRKeyX, partnerships seem to be very important for you guys, because you guys are really a platform that is going to connect various different games, crypto companies. How do you see partnerships within your platform developing? And also, how do you see bridging the gap between the existing video game industry and this thriving new crypto play to earn gaming industry?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I had so much to say on that last question that when Sebastien and Leah were talking, because it's really true, but I'll just sneak it in this answer because it kind of ties in a little bit. But first, with the partnership, yeah, I mean, we're, you know, I always say this, is that, you know, we're really technologists first, our company. We're a technology-based company, almost infrastructure, but we have a game studio with a lot of, you know, X-Game, you know, studio team members and entertainment and tech and all this stuff. But we're like super nerdy about technology. And I think that's how we ended up still going this route with the partnerships, because we spent a lot more time developing our game than a lot of the projects that have started at the same time that have been out. We just literally launched our limited beta release finally. But that's because we spent months and months building out the tools, which now have created on the GDEX platform the DeFi, DApp, and NFT creator tools, right, to actually create these simplified dApps in the whole ecosystem. But we focused on, again, also interoperability with DeFi NFTs. And that's other technology we have. The beta version will come out at the end of this year, and we have a pretty big, which I'll say it now because actually this video probably won't go, this video will come out after. So yeah, we have a really big partnership with QuickSwap, which we just listed, right? So we have kind of almost a theta, right, or alpha version of our Prism technology of a interoperability with DeFi NFTs across QuickSwap, you know, the biggest L2 DEX, and our company. We have another few coming out after. But that's really how the partnerships came about, is because number one, we love people. We talk a lot of smack at our company. We're big on networking. We love working, and we like to, me specifically, I like in teams, in community, I think there's energy. Like the guy from Zappos, right? I don't know if you know the story, when they built the Zappos campus in Vegas, he put one door to get in and out of the hole, and Zappos is huge, by the way, and he put one door. You know why? It forced every single person at the company, business, to meet. You know what I mean? Little atoms in energy, like having to bump into one another, because that energy creates ideas. Sorry, I just totally went ADD, but you know, that's really the partnerships with us, because we want to build out this ecosystem where, hey, us, Alien Worlds, Sandbox, you know, everyone here, maybe Leah, when they have a game one day with the consulting company, that we can all have this ecosystem that thrives. Because remember, I mean, now we have users in technology where they own these assets, right? Why shouldn't they be allowed, like when Tencent sued, right, to take them out and go, they're bored of our game, shit, go use that in Alien Worlds or Sandbox, right, and get value over there. These users can now create, these economies can overlap, just like it happens in the natural world of economies overlapping, right? So I don't remember what the second question was because I spaced out. But what I'll get back, what was it? How blockchain in traditional gaming or something? Is that what it was? Usually nighttime I start getting.
Yeah. How do you if you are becoming that bridge as a platform provider, how do you bridge that gap with gaming and crypto? Because it's almost like for crypto, it makes sense because you've been experimenting for so long.
Right.
And gaming, it's like you're already very successful. A lot of these gaming companies are very successful. So how do they take that leap of faith to enter this space and really get in it in a big way?
Oh, you mean like traditional gaming getting involved in this market? Right. Oh, that's a whole nother world. So let me jump back into my ADD moment of the last question, which was gaming is going to be the biggest way for mass adoption to occur. We're seeing it right now where non-crypto people, as we're talking about, will be able to reap all the benefits of Web3 and blockchain without even knowing they're using it. It's happening right now in blockchain, right? When we launched our limited beta release right now, 50% was new users, and they all came from Vietnam, and none of them were crypto, none of them were gamers or anything, man. And that had a double-edged sword, right? Because then there was some tweaks on with MetaMask and stuff. We had to teach a lot, but it was really fascinating, man, to like see the adoption happening that we're happening in this industry right now. And if you look at the history of blockchain, gaming literally was the first proven out use case before we had a name called blockchain. It was cryptography back in early 2003. And Brock Pierce was one of the first innovators of that whole movement, utilizing these for digital assets and games. So it's kind of coming full circle that we're here right now. So now get a bit back to the traditional blockchain or traditional gaming. I think they're gonna, until, just like the banks, right, and this and that, until there's enough disruption, they're not gonna move. They're gonna invest a little bit in the companies, right? They're gonna do their case studies. They're definitely not gonna get involved with tokens. We know that, right? Because public companies will not do that. There's way too much scrutiny, or all that's the regulation around that. It's way too hard. But they're just going to start investing in companies, right? And really what's they get, and it's going to be companies like ours and everyone else in the industry. And we're talking to other companies right now currently who are working with game studios who are going to start, providing our technology and our ideas to them. We're not really focused, our company specifically, on game studios. We like to focus on the creator economy, like you and me and the guys in the department, making DeFi dApps and games that are the ones who are blowing up this market, right? But, I think traditional games are going to move slow just like they are. They're going to invest first. They're going to collaborate and partner with companies like ours, use the technology, this and that, and probably start buying. That's usually the way it happens. It's the exact way it happened in crypto with everything else. It won't move as slow, though, like crypto and bakes and payments, because that's a whole other world, right, of philosophical debates and everything of why that won't happen forever. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. I think it's not my area of focus. They're going to come in when they want. They have the money. You know what I mean? We know the Epic Game Studios, the Blizzard, Zynga, they got the money to do whatever they want. It's going to be a matter of them saying, do we care enough yet to invest time and resources in this? When we're making billions a year, why go touch blockchain, right? Until it starts seizing their market share, right? Then they really start making big moves.
Maybe to add a bit of nuance here, as the president of the Blockchain Game Alliance, we have seen many of those major video game company names as members that have been following, witnessing, and researching in the space, like Ubisoft, Gameloft, Atari, Square Enix, just to name a few of BGA members who follow, sometimes participated, sometimes invested already in platform, Square Enix being an investor into Sandbox, for example. And there's always this innovator dilemma, like large platform have a tendency to be a slow mover when it's about reinventing their business model for various reasons that JD here exposed. But they are now at a moment where nobody can ignore again, like what NBA Top Shot, Axie Infinity, Sandbox are doing in the space in terms of transaction volume, GMV, etc. And well, I keep hearing more and more like we need to adapt quickly or we are going to lose a lot of players, because once a player starts earning a revenue stream from playing a game, why would he even care spending into virtual items that he no longer owns? And I think we're still very early in the space, but the quality of games we're seeing right now in the blockchain ecosystem, they are pretty simple. We cannot consider them yet as deep and as complex as like the Supercell, mostly KPI driven, mostly optimized kind of free-to-play game. So once we reach that level of iteration and optimization in play to earn, they will really become unstoppable. Like every action, every choice, every click has been studied to be optimized to drive conversion towards giving more value to the users. And that's, I think, like the horizon for them has shortened a lot. Whether like I say, yeah, maybe in 5 years, in 10 years, blockchain game will be something. Now they're saying, oh, maybe in 2 years, it's already being revolutionized. And I'm part of this, or I'm going to miss the train.
So meaning that they're getting scared they might get disrupted soon. They better start coming in, seizing the market share and innovating.
Yep.
So we, JD, you mentioned about the fees and how that really changes the dynamics. So for companies like Alien World and Sandbox, you guys in particular, but also how do you see the trend developing when it comes to having your own blockchain, building on something like Ethereum, which is obviously like the largest ecosystem, but having to deal with the fees? How do you integrate the blockchain dynamic? And then also going forward, how does that develop into really making it as low cost as possible to transact and use the economy itself?
I can jump in.
I can jump in if you want. Sorry if I'm speaking over you because of the delay. I knew that was coming. Sorry.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I mean, as I think as I think probably many people know, we're on several blockchains, but in terms of cost, I think I'll restate what may be obvious, but the Wax blockchain is obviously very low cost and very green in general. And so has perhaps been a big factor as to the mass adoption of NFTs in the Alien Worlds metaverse. So I think that's one of the reasons. There's probably really appropriate uses and situations in each blockchain, various scenarios. And so if in our perspective, if the players want that, then that's what will happen and what will be created.
Great. And Sebastien, what about you? How do you see the scaling and the fees, really the blockchain integration playing a big role in what you guys are doing?
I think there's not a single solution that fits all use case. There's some categories of NFT that are not necessarily high trading volume, but high in value. And for those, like Ethereum layer 1 is essentially enough for like buying one, storing value for it and using. Whereas there's more lower entry fees, entry cost items that's just a couple of $1, $2 and that. And for those, there's definitely a need for like a cheaper and faster solution for those items. And it's true that at Sandbox, when we sell virtual lands, typically the fact that we use a layer 1 Ethereum has never been an issue. On the contrary, we've been optimizing it, co-creating the ERC 1155 standard, and we've been able always to sell out in seconds. But on the marketplace, for example, for more of the actual game NFT equipment, wearables, characters, decoration, building, that's indeed been more friction, the gas fees, etc. And that's why we decided to move to a layer 2 sidechain, which is Polygon, which we are seeing is not the only one. Definitely there's many in the space, much more choice now, Solana, Binance, Wax, etc. in terms of items, but it's getting more adoption and it's supported in the ecosystem. And at the end of the day, for us, like the ecosystem plays a great role. Like if there's a blockchain, it's not integrated with a marketplace like OpenSea. If there's not a wallet solution that makes it accessible for everyone through either MetaMask, Bitski, Venly, etc., it's going to be harder for users to onboard to it. So that's, I think, something that's still in development. L2s are definitely younger chains than L1 in the space, but they've great progress. And now there's a great user base available across those chains, which is very beneficial at the end for always this idea that NFTs should be interoperable and usable across other dApps, other marketplaces, etc.
Great, thank you. And just a final question for everyone in the panel. 1 to 2 sentences. What excites you the most about building these real economies in these games?
I would say like the fact that we are really making a real impact into people's life. At the end of the day, like at Sandbox, we had a vision to turn players into creators. Now we can finally make them also make a good living from what they create, from the time they spend into playing. So it's just the pursuit of like involving the community, giving them a real value, a real reward for the engagement, the time they spend, the content they contribute to building, the fact that they can also govern that world, participate into the future of that world, that's really profoundly changing and truly motivating us all the way.
Great. Anybody else with some wise words of wisdom? Lisa?
Yeah, I completely agree. I was going to say that changing people's lives as well, but it's great to see the stories that come around and hearing what people have planned, like you say, for governing these worlds in the future and engaging people in various decentralized ways with these concepts that we've carried forward from blockchain for years, and getting to see those in actual practice now is very, very exciting. So we get a lot of good stories out of it. I think it'll be a good year for stories.
Yeah, I would say exactly what they said. We've had occurrences twice. We always send our users tell them to send videos. We've had 2 kids playing our games out of Vietnam, a 5-year-old boy the first time, and then a 7-year-old girl. Both of them one was with their mother, one was in the father who had taught them how to play, both playing at the same time. You know, Web3 play to earn technology, earning income for their family. That shit's goosebumps. That's the reason I think we're all doing this. I mean, the money's great that we make as a company, but that shit is like, I get goosebumps just thinking about seeing that happen because of the technology. Never before in the history of man, like something so beautiful because of that. And fun. Play games and make money. Why go to college? That's bad advice for the kids watching. Don't listen to me. You can just play games and earn money the rest of your life. Good idea to me.
Yeah, I think play to earn represents the pathway to onboard the next billion users to crypto, which is what we've all been looking for. And I think we've found real utility and empowerment within this tech. Finally.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Sebastien. And thank you, JD. Thank you for this great panel. And hope everyone has a great day and is enjoying the various other panels.
Wonderful. Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
See you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, this is Charlie Hu, the managing partner of Lucid Blue Ventures, the head of China for Polygon. Polygon has been actively growing in the Web3 gaming and the metaverse field in the last couple of months, and we have tremendous support and adoption in the ecosystem right now. And we try to bring the bridge between the Web2 gaming world and into the Web3. And very looking forward to the summit and hopefully to share some insights and meet new friends in the summit. Thank you very much.